Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an Outlaw Trails role-playing game story from years ago. I'm calling this Single-Handed. Before I get into this, though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you would hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on social media, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there. I like to think I write good stories that make you think. I wrote a 3-book science fiction western series called Drifters. I wrote a fun story about a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. It's called The House Off Farrago Road. I wrote a political fantasy called The Righteous President. I wrote 2 books. I'm working on the 3rd one. I'm trying to make it into a series. It's a science fiction, futuristic space warfare kind of thing. It's a study of humanity from an alien perspective. The first one is Vanguard 1. The second one is Task Force Terminus. I hope you get them, and I hope you like them. All right. They're all available on Amazon. Single-handed. Years ago, my friend Earl was running an Outlaw Trails game. Earl is an excellent game master, and his games were always exciting and fun. We had a lot of fun playing in his game. There were 8 of us playing in this game, but for a variety of reasons, I was the only one able to show up for the scheduled game that week. One guy had to work. A couple of them were out of town. One of them had a wedding. Just different things got in the way. Life gets in the way when you play tabletop role-playing games. That's just something that happens. There's nothing you can do about it. Anyway, I was the only one that could make it. The group had been helping a local rancher to run off some rustlers. And since I was the only one to show up that week, Earl had intended to run a small side adventure for me, and I figured that was cool. The problem was, when I was riding fences, I came across a section in Earl's game where the rustlers had broken through the fence, and he actually did not intend me to follow them. His intent, as I understand it, was for me to go back to town or go back to the ranch, get help, and then go. But me being the hard-headed, stubborn bastard that I am, he was going to have a side adventure as I was heading back to the ranch house. But being the stubborn bastard that I am, of course, I followed him. Again, I was riding fences, checking for breaks, which is normally a long, boring job, and I found a place where someone had cut the fence and herded a few dozen cattle out. My intent was to follow them and see what was going on. If I could find out where they were, then, the group could do something about it. But things got a little out of hand. I followed the herd for about 8 miles. It was easy to do because there's way too many cattle to hide all the sign. And I saw a man on a hilltop. He was dozing, and I figured he was watching for anyone trailing them. Because he was dozing, I rolled really well and was able to sneak up through a little trail in the back. I snuck up on him, and I didn't want to alert him with my gun, so I used my knife, and I slit his throat. So he died, and I found out that he was one of the guys that we were tracking, so I still wanted to find out where the rustlers had taken the cattle, so I continued following. They'd made camp in a small ravine. They had one man on guard duty. The rest of them were sleeping, because it was nightfall by then. And there was a lot of shrubbery around, so I decided I could take this guy out, no problem. So I snuck in. I wanted to find out who was actually part of this rustling organization. So I snuck in, because we had a few names, we didn't have everybody. I snuck in through the bushes, and I snuck up on this guy, and I killed him too with my knife. I slit his throat. Very, very quietly. I was rolling really good, so, And that left 6 men sleeping in the camp. I quietly moved from one man to the other, getting a look at them, and while I was there, I said, screw it, and I started cupping their mouths and slitting their throats, stabbing the hell out of them, making sure they were dead. As luck would have it, I ran out of luck. One of the other men, I had killed 4 of them, so there was only 2 left. But as I finished that last guy off, one of the other guys woke up. I drew my pistol and shot him dead. The last man jumped me, and we fought. Yeah, that was my mistake. The gunshot in the night spooked the cattle, and they began stampeding. They were running around this little ravine, and the problem was the only way out of the ravine was through the camp, and these cattle were stampeding. As we wrestled on the ground, the cattle ran right over us and stomped us into jelly. Yeah. And I was doing so well, too. I almost had that whole gang done. That last guy, I had him. I was going to kill him. But we both got killed. The cattle ran us over and killed us both. Now, I don't mind losing a character. That's part and parcel of tabletop role-playing. And it's not like I didn't get it, go out with a bang doing it. It was a good deed and all that. But to get so close and to die right at the end, man, that was frustrating, that was not good. So I made up a new character for next week, and we ended it there. And the sad part was the wrestling stopped. So yay me, I guess. Earl pointed out to the rest of the group that I'd taken out the entire gang of wrestlers by myself. That made me feel a little bit better. The rest of the group was like, okay, well, then what are we going to do now? And we ended up, as I recall, turning to bank robbery. So maybe I'll do that one next time. I don't know. At any rate, hope you enjoyed it. And it just goes to show you, no matter how well you plan, bad luck gets in the way. Hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. Clarissa Lowe, a historian from the future. Delmore Kane, a Civil War veteran turned outlaw. This oddball pairing faces a conspiracy of epic proportions spanning the centuries. If you like action and adventure westerns with a splash of science fiction and fantasy, check out my book series Drifters and their ongoing adventures.